Welcome, everybody. It's a beautiful day here in Oklahoma City. Sunny, but storms on the horizon, which is perfectly normal for this time of year. I'm joined today with Wesley Schroeder from Magellan. We'll get to introductions here in a minute, but kind of while people file in, we're going to be talking about going to um, starting to use AI in your business. There's kind of a punchline at the end, so stay tuned for the whole webinar. But how can you build your environment um, at your company to where AI is integrated, makes sense, and is adoptable? One kind of recurring theme, we've had an HR consultant, we've had branding consultants on the webinar, and Wesley is a strategic coach. So he has helped us at Amshot with our strategic vision. And without it, not only would my team members not know what our vision is, but I wouldn't know. And AI wouldn't know either. And so you definitely want AI to know about that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and get the webinar started. So yeah, my name is Michael Thomas. I'm the CEO and founder of Amshot. Amshot's a 14-year-old MSP in Oklahoma City. I like to call it a 14-year overnight success. I stole that from the Instagram guys, but yeah, being an entrepreneur is a constant learning experience. We are in the Oklahoma City market, so our customers are primarily headquartered in the Oklahoma City area, but we do service clients all around the United States, including Europe as well. So, we like to do all that stuff, and our vision and mission is to provide small businesses with and their decision makers with valuable technologies that further their mission and goals. And we accomplish that by creating a really engaging environment for our team to thrive. We're doing 2 culture surveys a year, and we really want to have the most exciting and engaging environment for our employees to thrive in. By doing that, our customers are happy. If our team's happy, our clients are happy, and that's been, we've doubled and tripled down on that. And I think it's a good, consistent thing to talk about in this age of AI. So, um, you know, taking care of your team and empowering them with tools like AI is a way that you're going to provide better service to your customer. All right, and I promised, I talked about Wesley. Here he is. So
Hey
I'll turn
everyone.
it over to you, Wesley.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. So Wesley Schroeder, I'm president of Magellan Executive Partners, and we do two things. We do strategy work and we do leadership development for companies. And I've been privileged to kind of get to lead this organization, and we employ a number of what we call executive partners. These are consultants and they're ex-CEOs. And so when we come in and really help companies, we're bringing a lot of just experience to the table, and that's really what we lean on. As it relates to AI, part of what Michael's going to tell you about is kind of how you set up AI, and that requires having a very foundational understanding of your business, where you compete, how you win, and why you get to continue doing what you do. And that's really what we help with is providing clarity around that. So really happy to be here, Michael.
Yeah, got to find that blue ocean, right, Wes?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And so, we do use Magellan in an ongoing capacity as executive coaching as well. So, great group. We really enjoy working with you guys, and you guys know how to make an old fashioned as well. So, if you ever book a 4 p.m. meeting at Wesley's office, there's an old fashioned there waiting for you. So, we know that.
Exactly right.
So a few things we're going to talk about today. In addition, is I want to talk a little bit about what's going on in the news, as well as our, AI team foundation. And that last bullet point is going to be a little bit exciting because that's when to sprint. And so I'm looking forward to talking about that a little bit. So in the news, we've got Anthropic continues to be really a big topic, and they had this Mythos model that was so powerful that it could find software vulnerabilities so well that they decided that it was too dangerous, and so they restricted the model. And a collaboration was one of the outcomes that Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, Google, Nvidia, they're all going to work together to use AI to strengthen their systems. And occasionally you do see these companies get together to come up with standards, things like Bluetooth and some of the Wi-Fi standards, other security standards come about when these companies do get together. So this isn't the first time that they've collaborated on something, but it's definitely interesting to see them collaborating in AI cybersecurity, which is just huge and really crazy. Next, we've got the arms race, continuing to say that Claude is the kind of top model right now. People talk more about Claude than they are OpenAI and GPT models. And there are all these business and corporate ones that we talk about, but lots of non-corporate AI is going as well. So Meta, Google, and they all launched large models in April, in a real tight window of 8 days. And so I've never seen in my career any technology move this quickly. And to think that I've been using it for a couple of years now, and the leaps and bounds in which it's grown and how it's upset the marketplaces, is really incredible to think about.
It's interesting, Michael, because if you think about these different AI models, I mean they've all chosen to kind of specialize around different things. I mean, I know I've used Claude a lot, and I know you have as well. And you can't ask Claude to go kind of create an impressionistic painting around something. I mean, Claude will just say like, I don't do that at all. And I mean, so it has been fascinating to kind of see how they've really kind of focused on different areas of where AI could be useful.
Yeah, and it's such an interesting thing to think about that, you know, OpenAI, one of their biggest investors was Microsoft. Same with Anthropic. Microsoft invested in them.
Yep.
And, I was blown away. So I use Copilot, but I use it to build Claude agents and ChatGPT agents. And, it's interesting because they take these different models. Last week, was the first time I noticed that in the agent builder, Grok is now available. So I can deploy Grok models
Yeah.
to people inside my office. I've never used Grok before, but I've heard things about it. So just an interesting way how these things are tying together. One thing that's kind of in the news on the nerd front on this, the kind of frontier model arms race, is that Microsoft just released the beta for Agent 365, which is going to allow companies like Amshot and larger businesses that are using Microsoft to actually manage their Claude instances and kind of bring them into the Microsoft bubble. So they're going from both ways. So it's really a lot of dynamic, interesting things happening. Um, One thing is the whole concept of chatbots to agents. So, model context protocol, this is a way to, integrate data. But what a lot of people are talking about now are agents that are actually using a computer. And so, buy the Mac Mini, set it up on a secure VLAN and have these agents doing things. That's what I think people are going to start talking about more as agents. These chatbots that we're using now, these LLMs, where we're talking to them and they're not actually going out and executing things. I do think there's going to start to be some cleaner naming, uh, hopefully at least. I know a lot of the names are confusing. And then I read a funny article. Oh, yeah, I read a funny article from Apple, and it was uh, how they think that they've been doing things in intelligence for many years. Siri, we all know that.
Yep.
But they're saying that this is a marathon, not a sprint. And I think that's pretty funny. They really did start with a head start, and kind of blew it. I mean, I'm a huge Apple fan, but to see Siri's the same Siri she's been for a long time, and now anytime she wants to do anything, she's just passing it off to ChatGPT. So Apple definitely lagging behind, but Apple's a hardware company. They've never really been known for cutting edge software.
Right.
They make widgets, and widgets in movies now. So great movies and TV shows, by the way. All right, so let's get a little bit into this, AI governance, AI foundation. And it really does start with cybersecurity and using the tools that are built into your environment. So you can't roll out AI to your team and have hackers easily able to get in. It's just like having a butler at your house that if somebody broke in, that butler just pointed them straight to your valuables, right? You want the person not to be able to get to access to your butler. And AI is the butler. AI is this all-knowing, entity that can give them access to all of your bank records, all of your social security numbers in your office, all of your credit card numbers, just by asking. And so you have to turn on not only, lock the door and, set up lots of um, guardrails to make sure your security is good, but then you need to start doing things like conditional access. We're not going to allow people outside of the country. We're not going to allow people that have older computer builds to get access to your environment. Then you need data loss prevention. Like these are features that Microsoft is giving you as part of your business premium license. You can go in and you can say, create a data loss prevention policy that says if you see anything with a social security number, if you see anything with a bank account, if you see anything with a credit card number, mark it as sensitive and encrypt it because that's important and it's there. So you have to start doing these things. Sensitivity labels too, like whatever governance your business is under, you need to start having sensitivity labels and labeling your documents. Have at least a standard sensitivity label applied. It's part of Microsoft 365. And then the same with retention labels. You got to turn these things on. These are, this is your due diligence. This is your metadata. This is the foundation of a good environment, period. And it's that much more important if you want to turn AI on. You want AI to know this is sensitive data. I should not be sending this out, warning people in the office, hey, you're using sensitive data right now. Be careful. Like you need that AI to be aware of the context in your environment. And so you have to do that stuff if you want to have a foundation that can go into the future and rapidly deploy, AI. And then the same is designing context, making sure that people in your company know what the key terms are, know what a how-to document is versus a checklist, know what a policy is, know what these things are. Your team needs to know that, and it needs to be readily available in your document libraries and how you store things. Because then AI is going to need to know those same things as well, and we're going to get into that pretty deeply.
It's interesting, Michael. I mean, you think about, companies that are going to use AI versus those that won't use AI, and it will become over time a competitive advantage, I would argue, using it versus not. And yet the act of using it opens you up to some of these vulnerabilities, just like you said. I mean, if you're not really taking and going through the steps and the process of setting this up correctly, you are more vulnerable by using it, and so you kind of have to do both. You can't just skip the steps of setting this up correctly and just deploying it, kind of within your business, because if somebody does get in, the magnitude by which they can really impact and damage your business is only going to grow.
Yeah. Yeah, the average time that like someone is in your environment, if they breach into your environment, whether it's just an email breach or on a server, is like 60 or 70 days. That's how long the bad guys are in your environment learning and studying. And this is kind of an older number. That number
Yeah.
is rapidly shrinking.
Yeah.
I haven't seen an updated one, but it's just a day now, half a day where they can have that AI figure out, organize your data, find all the vulnerable, sensitive information. They can just, if you don't protect it, those
Yeah.
agents can become just your worst nightmare. And
Yeah.
the interesting thing is, like, on this slide, we're talking about, business context, business goals, pain points, your compliance needs, using leadership to prioritize things, all this stuff like I was talking to you about before AI was even a thing. And it was super important for me before AI. And
Yeah.
we really appreciate working with you. We did your strategic mapping product, and we still have the compass that you built for us in our break
Yep.
room. And talk about just that process and how it works without AI even involved.
Yeah, so one of the more difficult things for businesses, especially businesses that have been around, like you said, you've been around for 14 years. You kind of get to a place where yeah, you're doing work, you're working, kind of every day in what we just call in the business. It's the stuff that you got to do every day just to kind of keep the business going. And it's very easy to kind of fall into this trap of not spending time working on the business, working on improving the business itself. And yet that's really where your growth opportunity lies is by working on the business. And so you say, okay, I want to work on the business. So what does that mean? It requires your team, your kind of leadership team, to really kind of understand foundationally, who you are, what are the characteristics of your business that set you apart, just as an example. And so kind of going through that process, I mean, that becomes the context by which you can make decisions about what you're going to go do to work on the business and grow. And that same context is what AI needs. And it's kind of a coincidence in a way that kind of process of thinking through who you are as a business, no matter what business you're in, who you are, what are those characteristics. It's always been important in terms of deciding what you're going to do to kind of grow and improve. Now it's kind of doubly important because that same context is what AI needs to be able to support internally you as a business.
Yeah. It's amazing that those business fundamentals are even more important now. In my opinion, good strategy, good leadership, good teamwork, those have become even more important since things are going faster.
Yep.
I'm super excited about all of that. So let's talk a little bit about AI Team Foundation, and this is what we would consider, your a healthy way to prepare your environment for AI use. Now, this concept works in Google Workspace, but everything I'm going to talk about is in a Microsoft 365 environment. And like I said earlier, people do like Claude a lot more than ChatGPT now. And one of the things that's really great about Copilot is that you get both. You get both ChatGPT and Claude that you can have, chats with and build agents with. And so you don't have to make that decision. You don't have to go down that rabbit hole. If you have a good provider that can get your Copilot ready, Copilot has a little bit of a bad rap. It has been pretty bad. And we only switched from ChatGPT to Copilot in Q1 of this year. And so we were using ChatGPT for a year and a half, 2 years before that. But once they started rolling out the new GPT models and then the new Claude models, we knew that it was the time for us to move over here and really start investing in Copilot. So in the leadership launch product, it really does get you ready for a leadership team. And what we want to do is we want to get 10 leaders in your company. They can be executives and they can be just people that are very, important to the company or people that are pioneers in AI. because some of the concepts are going to be about data loss prevention and what sensitivity labels mean. A lot of people that are kind of in the weeds in your company, they're not going to understand or want to be engaged in some of those conversations. And some of the data may be a little sensitive. So we do, in the beginning, like to work with executives and leaders only. But we're going to be turning on those defaults for you. We're going to be making sure that your environment is secure enough, that you have your data loss prevention set up, you have sensitivity labels, some retention policies, default retention policies are in place. And we've been telling people that they need to do this stuff for years. And now's the time that it's really important because Copilot, ChatGPT, Claude, Grok even, they need that metadata. They need that information. They need to understand that this is a governance document that needs to be stay around for 7 years. That is, highly sensitive. Um, the next two things that we do are this context library where we are building two different repositories for your documents, a governance, which is long-term documents, and an enablement, which is more short-term how-tos, and then building out all the metadata for it, and then defining it in a SharePoint list so that now your team members can say, like, I forget, is this a how-to document or not? They can go to the metadata definition and they can read. It's all in a very clear, easy to get to place so they can see what kind of document they should create. And also, Copilot and future agents that are built on either Claude or ChatGPT, they also know, okay, this is a how-to document. It's beginner level. It's for this business area. This person needs this right now. And we're starting to use this now in our office, and it's incredible. So people, instead of asking, a team of people, hey, what should I do in this situation? They can just say at Copilot in a Teams chat, what should I do in this particular situation? And Copilot answers with the exact steps that you need to take. And, it's going to save us so much time, and it's going to make everyone else so much more productive because they won't have to stop and help. They won't have to do this. And you put a Teams chat out, that's six people look at it and are thinking about it and not doing what they used to do. One of them might know what the answer is, but man, if you can start building these agents, making sure that they understand what your business is doing, it is a great, great opportunity. So some of the things that our outcome of it is, you know, we are going to train and we're going to make sure that people and it's working for your company. So we want to sit with them, we want to sit with leaders and do workshops so that they can see the benefit. Because without them seeing the benefit, how will they know when to use the tool? And so a lot of what we're doing is teaching leaders in companies when a good opportunity is. And so in our second round of the Team Foundation deployments, we're now doing scheduled prompts for all the leaders. And so, it's kind of a basic prompt. It's like, hey, every morning at 8 a.m. or 6 a.m., review the week's schedule, review any missed emails, anything that came in overnight, give me a summary of the day's weather, and it prompts it up in Teams. And so it's the different ways that AI can be brought about that we're trying to show people. And it's super valuable. The scheduled prompts are something that people are really, really liking. Um, let's see this next one. And so this is where it really hits home in a leadership team. If you think of AI and IT, and you think of HR and IT, they're really tightly wound together. If you onboard a new person at your company, if you offboard a new person at your company, if someone gets promoted, you need to tell IT. IT knows what they should have access to. IT knows what devices they've got. IT knows their title, knows who their subordinates are, knows who their managers are. All of these things are really important. HR knows who needs to do the job. They know, what they should be good at, how they should respond. And building agents to me is a function of HR, and IT. And, even when you think about like if you're a leader in a company and you have no real understanding of how to build an agent or how an agent works, think of it like it's a new team member and just say like, hey, what is this person going to do? Why do I need this person? Who are we going to be looking for to fill this role? If you can kind of define that to HR, they can work with IT to build you an agent. And, you know, the future of agents and how they fit into org charts and how IT manages their access, it is really like a new team member. So at Amshot, we even name our agents like we give them, anthropomorphized names. So Ogilvy for marketing. We've got HR Ed. So higher ed is our HR bot. And, we like to think of them in that context. And then we map them out even in our org chart. And that seems to be really, really helpful. Our next step is really rolling AI out to your company. How many people working just like we did with leadership, but in other areas, other departments, working to other expand, get more licenses, get more context libraries for different departments. Like leadership will get their own library where they keep leadership only documents, or operations might have a client library of projects they've worked. And so this is when you're taking that same kind of concept and structure and start to expand it to the different business uses in the company. And then the last, real step and where people get the most excited are custom agents. Everybody right now wants an agent that will take data from one place, type it into some fields, do these RPA tools, the robotic processes, to save their time. And if you've gone through and you've built your context metadata, you've done your cyber readiness, and you've started to build out these libraries, I think of these agents as subject matter experts. These are the ones that people really are excited about the most. And this is like if a business owner could snap their finger and make an agent appear magically, it's not the one that's going to get their business, 14% more efficient or 26% more efficient overall. It's the one that is going to get Peggy, 20 hours back in her week because of the tedious work she's been doing. And, a lot of this is uh, exciting, right? Because we are automating processes. There's a ROI number on these types of agents where we can say like, hey, we're going to save you from hiring another accounting rep if you build this agent. It's going to cost you X dollars to build, and that's going to save you, a two head count over the next 10 years, right? Like people really interested in that. And this is where you get to the real excitement. But in my opinion, you do need to go and invest in those first couple steps before you get into these subject matter experts. And you know, if you want to, that's what I've got the slide about snapping your fingers or sprinting. But you want to integrate your apps, like you want to integrate your CRM and your ERP into your agents. And you want to have that context and that metadata. And if you've already wired it up and if you've already defined those fields correctly, when you do finally integrate it, the agents will be ready and already understanding the data that they get. When we talk about AI in our office, it is not a sprint. It is something that is continually improving. It's a lifestyle. So if you want to start rolling out agents in your business, you have to say culturally, we're prepared. Culturally, we want to start doing this. It's going to be disruptive. There's going to be, new processes, new tools available to people, And you have to decide that this is something we want to start working on. It's a journey we want to go down. And, reporting is really important. Understanding who is using the tools that you are building, who's using tools that they shouldn't be. So, who on your team is using shadow AI, an AI agent that they shouldn't be using. You need a partner that can watch that and give you reports every quarter or every month and say, like, okay, hey, these are the users that are using these other agents, because you don't want to say, like, you can't do that. You want to say, what is it that you're doing that our agents can't do for you? What is it that you like? Those people that are doing something maybe outside the umbrella, they're probably your lead or most technical people, and they've got something that's just not quite right. And so you want to watch for that. You really do want to drive that understanding. And then you want to see, like, how many times did Copilot access sensitive data? Who is doing this? Who has access to what? Should this agent have access to this? And if you're not continuously watching that, you are going to miss something. Something's going to slip. Someone's going to open up sensitive data that they shouldn't. They're going to share something that they shouldn't have in the company, and you need somebody watching that and watching who's sharing what. And it's really tough because I see a lot of leaders. I met with a company out of San Diego a couple weeks ago, and there was so much AI change in their environment. They were rolling out a new tool and buying this agent and getting this started, and their IT lead had to go on medical leave from stress because the owner of the company wanted to change and wanted all the newest tools. You have to have strategy. You have to have a plan. Just because things are changing in the world quickly, it doesn't mean that you need to change your company all the time. That's stressful. You still need to manage your business like a company, and having a vision and mapping it out and training is super important to reduce stress. I've read numerous articles that you people using multiple agents and trying different things, Wesley, that's you and me, is stressful. And, we need to not let that creep into our company, not let that creep into our strategy, but, be clear, pick something for a quarter, pick something for half a quarter, pick a metric for a year and stick to it and get to it. IT change management is always something that we're talking about. And, being compliant, sticking to something wholesome, these are all the important things. Now, my last slide, Wesley, I think this is something that, you and I are going to hear from our clients is like, I've got this agent that I need right now. I've got this thing that if I could do this, it's going to save me money. It's going to give me a competitive edge. It's going to do something. And that's not wrong. It's not wrong to do that. It's just maybe more expensive. You might have to do something twice. I met with a potential client or a client a few weeks ago, and they were like, we need Claude right now. And I was like, well, May 1st, we'll be able to govern your Claude differently, because Copilot, the Agent 365 will be out, and you can also build it. They're like, we just need to stick with Claude right now because that's what we understand and we know. And I'm like, that's a good strategy, but you might be, ripping it out and replacing it in 6 months. But those are decisions that you need to be able to make with people and have them understand. Um, you can solve a business problem. You can find something, laser focus on it, use AI to solve it, not tie it into your ERP and your CRM if you don't need to, have it doing robotic processes. These are all possible. But, if you do that without investing in that, framework, you might have to build it again. It might not last the full 18 months. It might, degrade because your business is changing a little bit. And so you're tweaking that one agent and making that one agent work instead of maintaining your libraries that are keeping all of your agents healthy. And that's the end of my rapid fire AI governance webinar. Thanks for joining, Wesley. You got anything to add?
No, this has been great. I mean, the AI is literally changing our world this moment, and I've never seen anything like it. I really haven't. And I'm not a tech guy like you are, Michael, but I obviously follow it very, very closely. And the speed by which everything is changing right now is unlike anything I've ever seen. And being able to deploy these tools is going to be important for all businesses, I would argue. Uh, but it has to be done safely, and if you're not doing it safely, then you're going to get kind of the benefit of it, but you're also going to open yourself up to substantial risk. And we can cross our fingers and hope that bad things don't happen, but there is a better way.
Yeah, so thank you, Wes. You're correct. Are there any questions out there in the audience? Becca.
I have been keeping my eye on the chat, and it doesn't look like anyone has any questions as of right now. But if they do, I will definitely let you guys know and we can get them answered.
Well, hey, we've gone over, so you guys know how to get in touch with us. So my email is right there or was on the screen, and look me up on LinkedIn if you don't have my email. So, Wesley, thanks for joining
Yeah.
us. Becca,
Thanks,
thanks for
Michael.
wrangling the questions.
Absolutely.
Uh, get out there, everybody.